This is page 64 in our notes. We're continuing on. We were talking about area and everything we know about area. Perimeter was the outside and area is the inside, so we know it is the inside. Area is measured in, we call them like units squared. We call them centimeters squared, feet squared, inches squared. Some people will call this square units, square centimeters, square feet, or square inches. They are the same thing. The most common one is the first set that I gave you. Most people remember area. They think about multiplying length times width. So a lot of people remember multiply length times width, and these are L and W in cursive. That's how you get the area of a rectangle, length times width. People remember area like if you were going to paint a wall. So some examples of area would be if you're going to paint a wall, you want to make sure you paint the entire wall. If you're going to put tile on the floor, you will tile the entire tiles on a floor. You'll tile the entire floor. You won't just do the outside or anything because that's perimeter. If you were to put carpet, you're going to carpet the floor. Not just like the outside for perimeter. You want to carpet the entire floor. So the next thing I want to get into are some examples with area. The first example, let me move this up a little bit, is I would like to draw using the blue lines here a rectangle that is 6 inches by 4 inches. And I'm asking what is the area? So a couple things that you think about here. You think about length times width is going to equal area of a rectangle. So now you just plug in what you know about the length times the width in order to get your area. Our length normally is your longer side, so 6, and then the width is your shorter side, 4. So I just plug them in 6 times 4. That would give me the area of the rectangle, which is 24. Now I label these inches, so you need to make sure you label this 24 inches squared. Why is it labeled square? If I were to draw and make this 4 rows, trace the blue line here, you're actually going to see 24 little squares in here. If I were to make this 6, divide it there, I would have to have 3. So if I were to actually count, there are 24 squares that cover this entire rectangle, and that's where you get 24 inches squared. Each one is an inch. There are 24 of them. What if I were to take this a step further and say, what is the perimeter of this shape? You need to remember perimeter is not 6 times 4, that was area. So perimeter is 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4, which equals 20 inches. And you label perimeter different than you label area. The next example I'm going to do is give it in word form, a square with a side length of 5 centimeters. And I say, what is the area of that square? So what do you know about a square? You need to know that. You've got the side length is 5 centimeters. So how do you find the area? If I were to draw a square to help me visualize this, this is 5 centimeters, this side's 5 centimeters. Do I need to keep labeling 5 centimeters all the way around? Not really, because area, you just take 5 times 5 to equal 25 centimeters. And again, you're going to label this square because area is always labeled square. What formula do we use to find area of a square? Area of a square, a lot of times they call it side squared, because you're taking whatever your side length is and you're squaring it. You're taking the side times the side. We don't really call this length and width because they're not two different numbers. They're both the same. So instead of length times width, they're just side times side. That's where they get this formula for area. Sometimes we can easily confuse kids on this problem by adding 5 centimeters on this side and 5 centimeters on this side. They think they need all 4 of those to get the area. No, you would use all 4 to get the perimeter area. You only need 2 of them. So if I give you that dimension all the way around, sometimes that confuses people thinking that they need to use all of them. Then another example I want to do here, I'm not going to give you a picture. I'm going to give you the length is 100 centimeters. The width is 25 centimeters. And I'm going to say, what is the area? And you say, well, what shape is that? How do I draw it? Well, if you start to draw length and width, you're going to notice this is a rectangle. So if I were to draw it like this is 100 centimeters. Length is normally the longer side. My width is normally the shorter side. What do we know about a rectangle? Length times width gives us the area of a rectangle. There's our formula. So what do we fill in for our length and our width in order to get our area? Our length was 100. Our width was 25. Our area is 2,500. We're going to label it centimeters squared. The measurement and how you measure it, how you label it, that matters because area is always labeled squared. Your homework for this particular assignment is a worksheet, page 74 and 75. One side is perimeter and the other side is area. You'll need to do all, and you'll need to make sure that you label label correctly because you label perimeter different than you label area.